Excellent. Well, our next session is looking at RTE, 1 year on from what you've just seen, and how successful the implementation of TMD's MAM system has been, and how that has transformed their business operations. I'd like to introduce you to Myles O'Donoghue, who is the project manager for RTE, and I'll hand over to you, Myles.
Thank you. So now you see what life was like 18 months ago. Last June we went live with FAST on acquired programs. So I'd like to just give you an overview of the system. At the top of the hierarchy is our existing scheduling system, which is IBMS. And that communicates with Mediaflex, our content management system. And then the infrastructure we have around that is we have a tape ingest facility, which is about 200 hours worth. We have a work-in-progress storage facility, which is about 2,000 hours worth. And then we have a long-term storage, which is 33,000 hours. And all this, when we've prepared all the programs, they go across to the playout server, which is identical to the ingest servers, which are played out on our three channels, RT1, RT2, and RT Junior. All of this is controlled from Morpheus. So IBMS sends the schedule down to Morpheus. Morpheus is told by Mediaflex about the location of the material, and the material is then pulled from the WIP across to the playout server, or indeed from the long-term store across to the playout server. We also have interfaces with RTE's online facility, and we can send files to and from Avid. So, this time last year, we were live with acquired programs on RT1 and RT2. And since then, we're now live on all programs, that's in-house programs and acquired programs for RT1, RT2, and RT Junior. All promos and press events are live, and commercials, well, we're going live probably in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. And we're also preparing material and sending that material to other platforms. And all of this is done through Mediaflex, and everything is done in the file world, no more tapes. I'd like to talk a bit about our promo selection and edit process. Last year, before we went live on FAST, this is the way we used to prepare promos. We would get tapes, and we would ingest the tapes into our Avid system. The promo editors would then choose the bits they want, and then they would play out all those onto a tape, and then it would be ingested into our central Avid system, where a promo video would be made. Then that would be also played out to tape, and we would then ingest that into Pro Tools, where the dub was made, and that's played back out to that tape, brought around to an ingest facility where it was ingested into an Omnion playout server. It was QC checked, and then it was played out. And after that, the tape was taken and it was ingested into the Avid system again, where it was FTP'd to our YouTube platform and our online platforms. Now it's much more streamlined. What we do is we choose the clips in Mediaflex, send those clips across to Avid, where the edit is done. The final edit is then sent to Pro Tools, where it's dubbed. The file is sent back to Avid, checked, sent across to Mediaflex, where it is then QC passed, and Morpheus then picks the file from either the WIP or the long-term store, and then it goes on to the playout server where it's played out. And then subsequently, we can just raise a preset to send it to YouTube or to our online platforms. And I think you'll agree that's a lot more streamlined and easier process. I'd like to talk about ingest. So our ingest facility has got 2 flexi carts and 1 standalone ingest facility. In Q1 of this year, the RTÉ International Player project was started, and they were planning to create their own ingest facility. And when they spoke to us, we said, well, listen, 50% of the material is already in FAST. And the other 50% of the material can be ingested into FAST. So what they did is they used the infrastructure already there to ingest into FAST, and then they used Mediaflex to transcode it and send it off to the international player. So all they had to do is create a preset within Mediaflex to send the files. Subsequently, then the files were sent off to the long-term store, so where they're stored for future use. We also have the facility to deliver to a lot of other platforms, and this is something we didn't envisage happening in the early days of FAST. So we're now sending to YouTube, as I mentioned. We're sending to our RTÉ digital content provider. We send to our international player. We send files for subtitling to external subtitling houses. We send them for creation of a sign language facility. We also send them to a third-party company to create audio description files for us. And also we're using FAST to send the files to our customers as well. And all of this is done with a single configurable workflow. So all the user has to do is choose the material, and with 2 clicks of a mouse, they can just raise a preset to send it to the relevant place. It's also integrated to our file delivery platforms, SmartJog and Aspera. So we use this every day of the week. I'd like to talk a little bit more now about the actual workflows themselves. This is an example of our file import preset. So, if a file lands within FAST, we raise what's called the file import preset. And what it does is, first of all, it moves it to a temporary area and executes what we call a digital tools task. What a digital tools task does, it extracts the metadata from the file, decides whether it's HD, SD, or whatever. It then renames the file, so it has its own unique name. Then, at the next stage, it does a workflow decision. What we look for there is, what we're looking for is an AES-wrapped audio. We have a small issue on our system where we have trouble playing back AES audio on our viewing platforms. So what we do is we transcode anything with AES wrapped audio to our house format, and that's what the transcode house format Streamcode QC preset does. That we then go to the next stage where we check what the TV standard is. Is it SD or HD? If it's SD, we go the upper route, and if it's HD, we go the lower route. And you will notice the presets are the same either way, but in actual fact, because the actual metadata is different, we have to do it in different paths. So, if you notice, the next stage was move stream code QC. This is where we've done a check and the file conforms to our house standards, so we don't have to transcode it. In which case, we take the file, we move it to our end area, which we call the work in progress, or WIP, and we execute an assisted QC on it. And then we transcode that file to a smooth streaming file, so we'll have a browse file for it so everybody can view on their desktop. And then we check whether it's a program or a press event or a commercial or a promo. And we raise and assess on each of those. Now, the reason why we have different presets to assess a program or a press event or a promo is because we wanted to leave ourselves the option of doing different assesses depending on whether it's a promo or a commercial or a press event. Now, in reality, there actually isn't any difference at the moment between the assess of press events, promos and commercials, but we have that option in the future of changing that. There is a slight difference with the assess of programs, where when we complete the assess of the program, it's put into a queue to be removed from the WIP after 7 days, while the rest of the short form material is kept on the WIP ad infinitum. Okay, this is the preset to transcode from the WIP to our preferred house standard and to raise the assess. So it's actually almost identical to the previous preset, except that there's a transcode at the front end. And obviously there's an SD transcode at the top and an SD transcode at the bottom. And then thereafter, it's exactly the same. it moves to an assisted QC, automatic QC, and we also do a digital tools, so we check the media info on it again, and we rename the file. And then we do a transcode to our smooth streaming, and again we raise workflow decisions to do the assess tasks. Broadcast media management. Okay, within RTE there's a group called Broadcast Media Management, and they manage all the files in the system. And what we found when we used the system after a while, we found that our work in progress area started filling up. If you go back to our file import preset, what we were doing is we were bringing the file in and we were transcoding it or not transcoding it, as the case may be. And then we were leaving it on the whip and we were doing an assess. And when we did the assess, it would then go into a queue for deletion. But we were finding that, well, for example, the BBC supplied us with 6 months of material in advance, and it was sitting on the whip, and we weren't doing an assess on it. So what we did is we created a new preset, which was to import it directly into the long-term store without having done an assess on it. And this meant that the files didn't sit around in the work-in-progress storage area. Then, when we did need it, we had to take it out of the long-term store and then import it. So we had to create a new preset for that as well. So all of this kind of streamlines the work that we're doing to make it more efficient, how we use our facilities more efficiently. Future plans. Okay, here are some of the plans that we have and how we're going to use it. A digital library. RTE has about 250,000 hours in our library, which currently is on tape and on film and loads of different formats. And we do have a plan over the next few years to digitize all of that and store it digitally, probably on LTO tape, or it might be on a different medium, and be able to access that when we can. We're also planning to hone our assisted QC process. So we use assisted QC at the moment, but we don't really use it properly. And we want to actually make it more efficient, so we use it more often. We're also we see that we're also going to have to send our files off to new platforms. Who knows what those platforms will be in the future. And we've also created a media hub where we have amalgamated existing departments within RTE, like what was previously called tape traffic. They only handle very few tapes now. We have media management, which handles the AVID area. We have the tape ingest area, which has been all put together with the media managers. And all of that is in one media hub, and they'll be managing all the material within RTE. So finally, I'd like to leave the last word to all the users. Oh. It's not playing. Oh. Thanks.
FAST is our new file acquisition system.
File acquisition and server technology.
Fast is fast.
It is fast.
It's very fast. 5 people can have the same tape at the same time. You want it fast, you got it fast.
Everybody wants it first, everybody wants to get the audiences in, everybody wants to get on the player as quick as they can.
The FAST system has made the organisation connected in a way that it wasn't possible to do before.
Once it's in fast, you don't need a tape at all. It's all there ready and waiting for you at your fingertips.
What we've done now is changing how RTE does its business.
And we're doing it, we're beating the competition.
Opportunities that are out there are almost limitless at this point, with content that we now have and we can now serve on any platform, anywhere, at any time.
Beforehand, if you had a tape, Save Homeland, one tape had to go on different people. Now what you can do is everybody can have access to the same content at the same time.
The future is all about connectivity.
Between people, between devices, phone in your pocket, computer, desktop, laptop, iPad, whatever.
We realised very soon that we had a gold nugget here.
What FAST does is it allows us to connect not only with our audience but also with each other, between departments. You can collaborate on stuff on the one system.
In RTÉ, it's considered a huge success. It's also the foundation of a whole digital asset management system, so it's future-proof in RTÉ.
It is a game changer for RTÉ because it gives people across different departments the opportunity to interact with each other's material.
It was very important to get the right partner.
They had the experience and the benefit of a file environment, and they were coming with this content management system, Mediaflex.
But we really liked Mediaflex. Anybody who was involved in the evaluation of the tender, everybody said that Mediaflex was the nicest product.
We knew what we wanted, and it was very important that we had a strong partner that would come in with us, and TMD were perfect for that.
The response from TMD was second to none.
They've been rocks, basically, that we could come to them with any questions. If we weren't happy with a workflow, they would tweak it and change it to suit our needs.
They came in on site, they worked with us, they understood our needs, they understand the television environment.
It was wonderful. They sat with us, they went through all our workflows, and they developed the initial workflows that we were going to use, and they listened to us.
Our relationship with TMD is based on trust, it's based on knowledge, it's based on knowing that they're at the end of the phone if you need them, that you can call them up with any question.
They're also very professional in their approach, that when they do have a solution for us, they're able to develop that solution and then implement it on the development and training system, then show it to us, and when we're happy and they're happy, we roll it out to the live systems.
TMD has a tremendous reputation. It has some really big customers around the world. It brought a lot of knowledge to this project, but they would be the first to admit that they've learnt a lot from working with a small, focused, practical broadcaster.
The award is like the technical equivalent of the Oscars, and we got it for the implementation of the FAST system.
We had realised within RTÉ, wow, this is actually going to change how we do business, and we felt it was very special. So to get that award was the icing on the cake for me.